What's going on, y'all? This is Officer Tatum on the Officer Tatum Show. I got to talk about a whole bunch of things today. Obviously, Donald Trump is the man. And for you Israel haters out here, I know y'all sad. Just skip this part. And I'm going to talk about Allie Beth Stuckey. She went on and just destroyed this guy on an abortion topic. We're going to talk about Kyron Lacey, the new information that just came out. And we're going to talk about Elijah Wilkes and his family's reaction to the body-worn camera of him losing his life, which was very interesting. You're not going to expect what the outcome is, to be quite honest. And then we're going to talk about the dumbest people on planet Earth who still pushing conspiracies. We're going to debunk all those conspiracies. And then last but not least, Jasmine Crocker. We're going to talk about her in the upcoming show. So y'all stay tuned. Hold the phone.
If you don't believe that we are in a fight today, you're sleeping under a rock. If you get hit and you lay down and you cry and you fold up in the corner, definitely you will not win the fight. We show up to win. Our culture needs a lot of you young people in here to step up and stand out. There is nothing or no principality, power, division, devil can stop us when we're united. They can only get you when you're divided. When I see the American flag, I see us progressing to something that can be awesome and great. And if you don't plan on winning big, you might as well go home today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. We got to talk about Donald Trump, the man of the hour. I think he should win a Nobel Peace Prize. Only people who are anti-Semitic think he shouldn't, in my opinion. And I'm being superfluous just a little bit, but in reality, how would anybody be mad that a peace deal is struck? Why are you mad, though? Let's talk. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, why am I mad that there's peace in the Middle East? Why am I mad that Donald Trump has made an effort to stop the genocide that y'all crying about? If it's a genocide, aren't you excited that the genocide has ended? But you losers, and I'm going to keep railing y'all until the end of time, you losers that have anti-Semitic running through your anti-Semitism running through your vein, you cannot see through your lens of anti-Semitism that there is a good thing that there's peace. These terrorists, Hamas, started it and was getting their heads whooped. And the people that voted for him, unfortunately, was a part of that to a certain degree. And now Donald Trump has called for peace. Let's go to the Donald Trump addressing the Knesset. Roll the clip.
After 2 harrowing years in darkness and captivity, 20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families, and it is glorious. 28 more precious loved ones are coming home at last to rest in this sacred soil for all of time. And after so many years of unceasing war and endless danger, today the skies are calm, the guns are silent, the sirens are still, and the sun rises on a holy land that is finally at peace, a land and a region that will live, God willing, in peace for all eternity. This is not only the end of a war, this is the end of an age of terror and death and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God. It's the start of a grand concord and lasting harmony for Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent region. I believe that so strongly. This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East.
Now, let's talk about this real quick. If you notice, he said 20 hostages are coming back and 28 of them are being returned. That means 8 of them are dead and they're returning their bodies. These people killed hostages. I don't know why. I said this on Piers Morgan and I almost lost my mind on everybody on the panel because everybody's, tiptoeing around this idea that like Israel didn't owe the Palestinians anything. They decided to elect the terrorist organization. They attacked their people, killing them, taking hostages. Israel didn't have to feed these people. They didn't have to send leaflets. If they wanted to commit a genocide, they wouldn't put leaflets. They'll say, that's a target, boom. That's a target, boom. And a building come down with all the people in it. But yet, they're claiming that there are 70-something buildings or thousands of buildings. I don't know how many buildings that they said that got knocked down. And then there's so many people that got killed. And so that's like one person per building. So that tells you right there that these people had been evacuated before these facilities were taken down. But and people were mad and saying, Donald Trump only went to the Knesset. Look, he's complicit. Let's show the clip of him in Egypt. He went to Egypt too. He gave a speech in Egypt and he signed a peace deal. Exhibit A. Roll it.
Okay. This took 3,000 years to get to this point. Can you believe it? And it's going to hold up, too. It's going to hold up. Okay, thank you. You can use my pen if you want. Have a pen? Want to use mine? Okay. Okay.
Look at the people represented that's sitting behind Donald Trump.
Okay.
You got Macron back there, and his wife somewhere in the crowd. I don't want to bring it up. That's between Candace and them. But anyway, you got all those people represented behind the scenes, signing a peace deal, and the Abrahamic Accords was the beginning of it, and then now we see peace that have been agreed upon by many Arab nations and also Israel. How is this not a step in the right direction? How is this not a continuation or the establishment of peace over time? Because more and more every year we see that strong leaders like Donald Trump is coordinating efforts between people of all nations and many Arab nations to negotiate peace. And the only caveat to this, or the only obstructors of this, or obstruction that could happen, is if these Palestinians do the same thing again and create a terrorist attack. Israel is not going to go back on this peace deal. They want peace. They were peacefully living in Israel when Gaza struck them. The Hamas people that the Palestinians voted for. It's not like they dropped out of an airplane and came down and took over the land. The Palestinian people voted for them. Let me say this real quick, and I'm gonna continue with a few more clips, and then we have to get to Kyron Lacey here in a minute. But let me talk about this real quick. It is invaluable to understand that, and I was very nice to the Palestinian people, maybe to a fault. We got to be honest about what we're really looking at. The Palestinian people, I would argue about 80% of people in Gaza are not innocent people. They're not innocent people. I'm not saying they deserve to die. I wish none of them died in this conflict. I wish they would just stay where they at and be peaceful like rational people, but they're not. But let's not act as if because Hamas laid down arms or because there's a peace deal signed that there's not vitriolic hate that is festering in these people that have been taught to these young people, and that the adult population aren't propagandized or they are not radicalized. They still, through a peace deal, want Israel to cease to exist. Let's not forget that. And so when Hamas lay their arms down or whatever the case may do here, it's going to happen again, because you cannot live next to these people who would vote for a terrorist organization whose charter is to get rid of Israel. They still think Israel is occupying. It's like the Native Americans still think we're occupying Phoenix. Shut the front door. All right. You lost the war. Take your licks and go home. Let's get to the other portion of it where Benjamin Netanyahu said some incredible things about Donald Trump. And as you put it up on the screen, I want to make this point before he says this. If Donald Trump was run by Israel and Netanyahu, and they were committing an ethnic cleansing or a genocide, then I would argue that Netanyahu would want the war to continue. Because remember, all y'all claim that he wanted the war to continue because he was going to face prosecution and go to prison and spend the rest of his life in jail for war crimes. And that's why he was continuing the war. He signed a peace deal. And if he wanted to commit a genocide, they hadn't done nearly the work that they need to do to commit a genocide. Killing only 60,000 people out of 2 million people is like 3% of the population. A genocide, at least you got to go 50%, 60% of the population. So this to me, it's just debunk all of the rumors and theology that people have concocted saying that they run us, Trump pretty much told you, you're going to come to the table, you're going to sign this peace deal. And I don't think the peace deal is all that Israel wanted and actually need, because they're actually not ensuring that Hamas is eliminated for sure. They're just going to build up their stuff and try to attack Israel again, to be quite honest. But this is what Netanyahu said about Donald Trump. And for people that live in reality and are rational human beings, this is normal behavior. And this is normal gratitude that's genuinely being shown to a president that negotiated peace with the backing of other Arab nations, with the collaboration from Hamas. This is what a person would say in that situation. Roll the clip.
No American president has ever done more for Israel. And as I said in Washington, it ain't even close. It's really not a match. Mr. President, today we welcome you here to thank you for your pivotal leadership in putting forward a proposal that got the backing of almost the entire world. A proposal that brings all our hostages home.
Now imagine this. The people in there, skinny, starving, many of them being killed, tortured. They probably raping these people and doing all kind of stuff. You think they're being reasonable? No, because every hostage would have returned alive. But they've killed some of them, and they probably did it in a gruesome way. But they've gotten all the hostages home. I saw videos of these hostages returning back to their families, and I got emotional. Because just imagine being in a dungeon for 2 years, getting mutilated, whatever else they were doing to these people. In a dark room, probably didn't even see the light of day for years. And these people have been returned back to their families. I mean, just put yourself in the shoes. Get out of whether this is Israel or not. But just imagine the feeling of you not knowing if your brother or your son would live, and you have to live with the idea in your mind that they are getting killed and tortured potentially on a day-to-day basis. You know, the health organization or whatever the case may be, they'll show you the kids in the hospital and releasing footage of that, but they won't show you the condition of the hostages. So we never knew what really the condition was. And imagine reuniting with your family after they starve you for 2 years. I mean, this is a pivotal moment. This is something that means a lot to not only me, but to people who live in Israel, that they now have been reunited with their families when they shouldn't have never been kidnapped in the first place. I love watching this because it's honorable. And to be honest, if Israel was the bad guy and Hamas was the good guy and the roles reversed, I'd be excited for them too. I don't have any problem with Palestinians. I mean, I do, because the ones in Gaza are evil for the most part. There's probably good ones in there. But I don't have anything outside of that for those people. All I expect them to do would be normal, right? We've seen videos of them just executing people that allegedly work with Israel after the soldiers, evacuated some of the areas. They out here shooting people in the head and executing people. You don't see that happen in Israel, do you? So it's not even close of a comparison between the two nations. And some people saying, oh, they need to have a two-state solution. There's no two-state solution in this ever. They cannot live alongside people that have a vested interest in killing all of them. And I want you to ask yourself this question. If you're still one of those people that's still thinking that there's a comparison between the two, why didn't refugees get accepted into Egypt from Gaza? Why couldn't they go to Jordan from Gaza? They didn't want them because they are a cancer that breeds cancerous terrorism. And hopefully they can be held at bay with military oversight and not allowing them to rebuild the government that's meant to destroy Israel. I want to play, we're going to get to Kyron Lacey because that's a story that I waited to listen to. Hold on. I waited to comment on because as soon as I saw the Kyron Lacey thing, I said, that just don't add up, because as a police officer, I know how investigations work. They didn't frame this kid. There's more to it, and there obviously was more to it. But before we get there, let's go to Allie Beth Stuckey, who was just putting a smack down on this abortionist or a person who advocated for abortions. Now, let me preface this. I'm not a big fan of Allie Beth Stuckey. My wife loves her. And me and my wife disagree with this, but That's why the women like women. I'm not a fan of her that much because of something she said to me a long time ago. But I'll forgive her this time. And I always give credit where credit due. I don't care if I'm a big fan of you or not. If you keeping it 100 and you telling the truth and you operating on biblical principle, I ain't got nothing to say. I'm going to put you up on the platform. I'm going to give you your roses. And she deserve them on this one. Roll the clip.
Jared, I'm Allie. Nice to meet you.
Hi, it's very nice
Thanks
to
for
meet
being
you.
here.
Yeah, if it's okay with you,
Yeah.
I'd like to start with a couple yes or
Hold
no
on.
questions.
Bro, pull your hair to the side. Like, is this a look? Somebody explain, is this a look? Looking like a homeless man that's eating out of the trash can and hit some meth before he went on stage. Is that a look? Roll that bang to the side, bro. Anyway, roll the clip.
And then I'd like to hear your response fully without interruption.
Okay, can I define our terms first and then I'll let you go and I won't interrupt you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so because these terms are so contentious, I just want to make sure that we agree. So abortion, the intentional killing of a human being in the womb. Can we agree on that?
I don't agree that abortion is murder.
I said killing. Can we agree on that?
I believe that it is killing life in the womb.
Killing
life.
what species of life?
A human.
A human. Okay,
Yes.
so we can agree that abortion is the intentional killing of a human inside the womb. Grave, just obviously, I mean serious. Moral, right versus wrong. Evil, bad, wrong, sinful. So I believe that the intentional killing of an innocent human being is evil. Do you agree?
No,
You don't. Okay,
I don't.
go ahead.
Yes or no, is abortion murder?
Yes.
In Matthew 5:28, when Jesus says that if I look at a woman lustfully, that I've already committed adultery with her in my heart.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Jesus doubles
Yes or no?
down on so many moral laws of the Old Testament.
Just
and
yes or no,
really
if that's okay.
important. Do I agree with what?
That if I look at a woman lustfully, that I have already committed adultery with her in my
Yes.
heart. Do you agree? Yes,
Yes,
or no?
in your heart.
Okay.
Yes.
In Matthew 5:22, when it says that if I'm angry with my brother or sister, then I am guilty of the same judgment as if I had committed murder.
Yes, spiritually.
Yep.
Spiritually.
Would you?
Not
Would it-
necessarily legally.
Would it be fair to say that Jesus is implying that lust can lead to adultery, and that anger can lead to murder?
Yes, I would agree with that. But he is also saying that actually following the law is not just about what you do outwardly, but what you do in your heart and what you think and feel inside.
Absolutely. Are pregnant women angry with the baby when they undergo an abortion? Yes or no?
I have no idea. I don't think either of us can say how every single pregnant woman feels when she has an abortion. Do you know what every single pregnant woman is feeling when she has an abortion? Maybe some of them are angry at the baby. Maybe some of them are scared. Maybe some of them are desperate. Maybe some of them just don't want to be pregnant anymore. But ultimately, it still leads to the same outcome that an innocent human being is being killed.
Yes or no? That's all I'm asking. So you
Okay,
would say,
I gave you more than that.
that's fine. I'm just trying to, one more. And how can abortion be murder if they do not share the same intention? How can an apple seed grow an orange tree?
Jesus doesn't say that anger is the only thing that leads to murder. As we saw in the case of David, it was lust that led to the murder of Bathsheba's husband. So murder can still be murder even if the intent does not start with anger. And that is what I believe we see with abortion.
What about Matthew 26:24 when
Hold on,
Jesus
hold on,
says that?
hold on. Now it's hard to do this. Like, obviously I'm looking at this in hindsight. It's hard to do this instantaneously, but you do murder the kid in your heart first before you go to the abortion clinic. You are feeling that I'm going to take this child's life. That's why you went to the abortion clinic and paid that money so they can come and take the life of the baby. So in your heart, you've already made the decision that you're going to kill this baby. That's the same correlation with saying if you believe lust in your heart, you've committed lust spiritually. And therefore you'll be judged on your heart. Even though physically you haven't done it, there's no physical consequences. So in your heart, if you want the baby to die, you have already killed the baby in your heart. Whether you think it's good or better for your own life or not, who cares? You have done it in your heart. You made a commitment that I'm going to take the life of another human being in her heart. So that's before you even get to the clinic. According to the things that he's trying to say, Jesus talks about these things. You've committed that into your heart. And that's why the outward expression of what you committed in your heart is what happens. When you lust in your heart, you begin to lust physically, which causes people to commit adultery. When you believe in murder and all of that in your heart, you let it fester in your heart. It begin to come out in ways like abortion or physically murdering another person. Roll the clip.
It would be better if Judas had never been born. Why do Christian conservatives believe that each conception deserves to be birthed when Jesus says otherwise?
Oh, it ended right there. So let's put this in perspective. Jesus is talking about the punishment that a person has endeavored in their life, meaning that you might as well not been born to be betraying Jesus at this point, because the end result of betraying Jesus is death. So your life is completely destroyed at the point at which you had resentment for Jesus in your heart and you betrayed him. That's a specific scenario in a specific situation. That has nothing to do with what he's saying about a baby, because a baby is not even have a choice to betray anybody. The baby is an innocent living human being that people always want to make an excuse to say, this is why I want to destroy the baby's life, because of what? It's not to preserve the child, it's to preserve the individual. That's a selfish behavior, because you weren't complaining when you were bumping and grinding, pumping and sweating. You wasn't thinking about that then, were you? You weren't thinking about your future, were you? No, come on. Y'all done got me started. Let's keep it real. You want to avoid the consequence of having sex after the fact. The reasonable approach is, I don't have enough money to take care of kids, so therefore I can't let Tyrone come over the house tonight. I'm not ready to have children, therefore I can't be laying on my back at night, doing the thing. Is that reasonable? I'm not a good parent. I'm not in a position. I want to make rank. I got all these endeavors. So male or female, if you are thinking that, then you should avoid what it takes to have a child. Now that you have foregone that and you now got somebody pregnant, or you have become pregnant, this is not the time for you to try to play God. You should have been playing God when you were in the bedroom, which means abstaining from doing the thing that created the baby. I don't know why people can't take responsibility for their actions on this. And people always say grape and the life of the mother. That's less than 1% of all of these abortions. It's all wrong. But let me concede to that. So 99% of all these scenarios are avoidable, and you should take responsibility for it. When I was in college at 22 years old, what did I do? I had a kid out of wedlock. I knew what I was doing when I was doing it, while I was doing it, before I did it. And so therefore, when she said she was pregnant, now this ain't the time for me to try to act like I'm gonna address the situation. The time was when she came over the crib. That's when I should have been thinking about it. After that, I said, you know what, God, I got to do what's right. That baby ain't had nothing to do with what I was doing. But since I made the decision, the baby will be born, and I need to be a good father. It's that simple. And if y'all want to go out and do the abortion thing, just understand that you're wrong. You could be wrong and do whatever you want. You're wrong, though. Quit trying to make excuses for it. Quit trying to act like you're so virtuous because you sacrificed the life of another person for your career that really ain't going to even go the way you think it's going to go. Some of y'all did that just for you to be an entry-level job. Y'all did that just to be an assistant manager. Is that what you feel good about that? Now, there's people who have done it and repent, and if you repent and you ask God for forgiveness, he will forgive you. You don't have to live with that burden. But quit walking around lying to yourself, acting as if you didn't do nothing wrong and trying to act like it ain't a real human being, because thank God your mom and them decided to have you and they didn't have an abortion. Okay, let's get to Kyron Lacey, because I really been wanting to talk about this for a while now. Let me tell you what the perspective was that I had when this first happened. Knowing how investigations work, I have done investigations on vehicular homicide. I've done plenty of these. I've probably done about 6 of them. And I know for a fact how cops come to the conclusion in many cases and why they charge people for these incidents. Now, I want you to understand, let's put the clip up of the naysayers, because we're going to address the naysayers and all the people who was all negative towards the trooper, and they should apologize. The cops were not there. I want you to remember, think about this. When the crash happened, the cops were not on the scene. They had no idea what happened. They had no idea. When they get to the scene, people on the scene begin to tell them, this is why this and this and this and this happened. There was a car that was headed in the wrong way traffic. This car turned to avoid that car, and this is what happened. That's the information that the police got initially from people on the scene. They didn't just pull up and be like, Where the black people at? Was there a black person in the vicinity? Yeah, it was him. He did it. Put him in jail. No probable cause. I could just make up the story. That's not how it happened. The witnesses on the scene put Kyron Lacey as the person who was responsible. The cops just followed the investigatory process. And then they went to the store, they looked at the camera, they built the case, they had probable cause. When you have probable cause to get a warrant for somebody's arrest, it has to be legitimate probable cause. It's not conjecture. It's not just I feel like, I think like. You have witnesses, you have video footage, you have all of the above. And I want you to ask yourself this question. If you're one of the people that think this cop should be put in a prison, you have to ask yourself the question is, why did the witnesses say that he was involved in this? Why did they point out the vehicle that was responsible for the car accident? They are the ones that put Kyron Lacey there. The cops didn't see it. They are the ones that did it. Therefore, the cops looked at the camera and said, okay, oh, that's the car y'all talking about. Yeah, that's the car. Okay, we got to find out what car it is. Did you get a license plate number? How would they get the license plate number unless a witness got the license plate? The cops are not physically there. You can't see the license plate number from the cameras in the convenience store. So that means that somebody thought he was responsible. They wrote his plate down. They gave it to the police officers. And that's how they end up finding out who he was and that he was driving that vehicle. But let's listen to the naysayers, because the state troopers put out the video that proves their point in this situation. Roll the clip.
This is what a piece of looks like. This crooked officer, Tyler Warren, is the one who told the witness to lie on Kyron Lacey. Rest in peace.
I am sick to my stomach seeing what happened in the Kyron Lacey case today, man. Because earlier this year, all the media was talking about this guy is that he killed somebody in a hit and run. That's what the police said. Passing in a no passing zone leading to a head-on collision. He was charged with homicide, felony hit and run.
Hold on. A hit and run. Nobody said he was a hit and run. He fled the scene of an accident after somebody had died. That's not a hit and run. And then a hit and run statute is it has subdivisions in it that explains what constitutes a hit and run. If you cause an accident and you flee the scene, that's the same. They treat it similarly if you were the one that hit somebody and you fled the scene. It's fleeing the scene of a car accident. That's underneath the hit and run. So the officers never said in the case report that he actually hit anybody and killed anybody. He was just involved in a situation where he caused the accident and then he fled the scene. Roll it.
Running reckless operation of a vehicle.
From oncoming traffic colliding with the vehicle of Mr. Hall.
And right here we see the crash, right? But the thing is, they said that he passed in a no passing zone and that led to a head-on collision. But where possibly is Kyron Lacey's car?
You will see another vehicle come to a stop, and then you'll see.
He is right there, behind the crash.
Now this is when this piece of shit tells the witness to lie.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes, and the brakes, like, you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that charger, and the brakes locked up to avoid that charger.
Make sure you say that you slammed on the brakes to avoid that charger. The same charger that...
Hold on. So think about this for a minute. And when you play a little small, I'm going to show the full video so you'll see exactly why he got charged. But when you play a little snippet and you crop the video to where it only shows the accident there and then Kyron Lacey kind of come into the screen, then this is after, you'll see, this is after he slams on his brakes and he slows down because he was driving on the wrong side of the road and he did cause this accident. But then they go to the police officer. Why don't they show the full body-worn camera footage of the police officer's full statement and his total interaction with all the witnesses? Why don't they show that? Why they only show the part where he's following up on a statement that one of them had to give him? Because how would he know that Kyron Lacey was involved? How would the cop know that? He don't know all the details. Somebody told him that. And I would argue that what he was doing was making sure that the guy had documented what he told the officer before. To me, that's what it looks like to me, is that he don't have to tell the guy to lie. Why would they care? Why would the cop need to get Kyron Lacey in this? The cop probably don't even know Kyron Lacey was even involved in this because he didn't know his identity. Did he? They don't know who was driving his car because he wasn't there. The witnesses were telling them who drove the car. Roll the clip.
Was 76 yards behind the crash. This entire thing ruined this man's life.
Then you have Brianna Imani Gray. She was the one who caused the accident. She knew the truth the entire time and didn't say nothing. This whole story was sad. All these lies, they cost somebody their life. But being the decent human being you're supposed to be, you didn't speak up. Again, my prayers are for Lacey's family. A lot of people owe Lacey's family an apology, and you all need to be sued.
But let this be a lesson to us all. Suicide should never be an option. If you and God know the truth, that's all that matters. Never give up on yourself.
All right, now let's get to what really happened. Now, we got a video that shows what the officers were explaining. And the video shows him flying at a high rate of speed on the wrong side of the road. Now, if a car is coming towards you at a high rate of speed and you go to deviate to avoid the accident, that's his fault, not yours. He's driving on the wrong side of the road, and you think he's going to come head on against you, so you go over and there's an accident that happened. But the reason that you see Kyrie Lacey's vehicle show up a little bit after the accident happened, because he slammed on the brakes. When he was flying and the car went deviated and crashed, he slammed on the brakes. And then he coasted through, didn't stop, didn't try to assist, didn't do anything. He knew he had caused the accident, so he fled. And many of you guys probably don't know this. I should have said at the beginning. Do you know how he lost his life? Do you know that he was in a high-speed chase with police and then he shot himself while fleeing from the police, then resulted in the crash? Did you know that? Why would this kid, if he was literally had nothing to do with this situation, he was driving down the road just minding his business and the crash happened and he just drove around like everybody else. Why would he even want to take his own life over this? Why would he even flee from the police when they tried to arrest him? Why would he do that if he didn't even know what was going on? That's because there's more to the situation. Roll the clip real quick and you'll see the car zoom by and he's going to slam on the brakes. Roll it. Look how fast he going. Go back. Look how fast he going past that white truck. Look at it. On the wrong side of the road. And then he's going to slam on his brakes because he noticed that he caused the car to crash. Play it back.
According to the video timestamp, at 12:03 p.m. and 54 seconds, a portion of the crash can be seen as it occurs. Moments before the crash, the gold pickup truck abruptly veers out of the northbound lane into a business, while the green Charger is approaching in the same lane. Immediately after the crash occurred, the green Charger was observed on surveillance video and by witnesses traveling through the crash scene and continues north on LA 20, failing to stop.
Turn and then she had no hit head on.
Did you see a green Charger flying that way? A green Charger that going that way?
There was a green Charger. That's a green Charger that caused all this.
SRT8, he caused all that. He went to pass the cars way back there, sir.
The green Charger collided with these cars?
He went right between.
He went around that truck, okay?
He was passing up with her right now.
And she had no choice. She hits the pole, she gets this.
How are they injuries? What
she
are they?
got a broken ankle.
And two complaining back injuries and then stuff like that.
Man, this is why y'all follow me. I'm just giving you a hit. The witnesses are saying that the green Charger caused the accident. The witnesses are saying, all of them out here are saying that the green car, that she had no choice but to veer into the other lane because the green Charger was flying up the road and kept going. The cop didn't see nothing, but they are the ones saying that this happened, not the police officer. So he's not out here telling people to make up something on a case report. They are telling him the green Charger did this, this, and this, and that. And then he goes and reminds the guy as he's writing his statement, make sure you write in that he hit the brakes and did all this stuff that you told me at the scene. Not one person at the scene is saying that anybody else was responsible for this accident except the green Charger. And let me just explain how this works from a police officer perspective just real quick. A cop comes to the scene of an accident. They don't go to the convenience store to look at the camera. They don't have any reason to look at the camera. They're responding to a crash. They don't know how the crash started. This is where the crash is located. They don't know to look on any cameras. So they go to the scene first. They get statements first. In a follow-up investigation, now that there's a third-party car that evaded the scene, they have to go and find out where this car is located. And then they go to the store and get surveillance. And they got to sit there for hours trying to figure out what the time is, and the time's off. And they go back and watch it. Then they have to get them to either record on their phone, or they got to get them to give them the DVR recording of that incident. Then they got to take it to the crime lab and all this other stuff. I'll put it in the evidence. But everybody got out and made it such a deal because he was black. Stop doing that. A cop ain't gonna just make up. I mean, they could, but rarely the cop just gonna make up something. And this sounds so bizarre because they are acting as if this kid had nothing to do with nothing, and none of the witnesses said anything. The cop just wanted to get a black man. Kyron Lacey knew he was wrong. It's unfortunate. I hate the brother took his life. He knew he was wrong. That's why he left the scene. He knew he was wrong. That's why when they went to pull him over, he fled the police. And then he took his own life. And I wish somebody in his corner would have said, hey, bruh, let's just go to court, man. You going to be all right. Just get an attorney. You ain't going to do the rest of your life. And it was an accident. You were trying to go around traffic because you were in a rush or something. And it wasn't malicious. But you can see on the camera that he's flying in the wrong way traffic, going around all those cars that are coming to a stop. Okay. Now, let me show you an example. And we're going to get to the conspiracies in a minute. Y'all just hold on. Let me show you an example of a family who were being honest about a situation that happened with their family member. And this is another black family, which you rarely see this ever happen. Everybody always saying, my baby didn't do nothing. He didn't even do nothing. This is a family that was at least honest, saying that he was beloved by his family, whatever, but he made the wrong decision. And the only reason I'm showing this is because I think more families need to be honest about their family members cutting up and doing the wrong thing. And there's another family that I would show, but we don't have a body worn camera at this point. But they're saying he didn't even do nothing. We got that family on there? Or we took it out? You got it right there. Grandma on the far left. Yeah, let me show you that real quick. I know I'm jumping, but let me show you this real quick. According to the police report, they family member was pistol whipping a police officer. Pistol whipping him before he shot him. And we'll come back to this story another time, and then we'll get the body camera so you can see what happened, and then we'll show it. But listen to what this family said after their loved one was pistol whipping a cop and ended up getting shot. Roll it.
It's just awful right now. He didn't do anything. He was asking for help. That's all my son wanted was help.
It's only been a few days since Wendy Dawson's son Jarrell was shot and killed by a Broward sheriff's deputy. She barely has the strength to speak about it.
I just want to know why they had to do him like that.
We know what people are saying about him, but we know him personally.
Thursday night, nearly 100 friends and family gathered outside the home where he was killed.
Thank you, Lord.
They prayed and sang. They also
Nick,
demanded
you better stop
justice.
talking about people
Where
like
was the
that.
negotiator?
Nothing.
Where was the SWAT team?
Nothing.
Where was the
Where was the
call?
rubber bullets? Where was the beanbags that they
The
normally
gas
shoot and throw
can.
at?
Sunday, BSO says a deputy was forced to open fire after hearing gunshots. BSO says they initially responded to the area near Sunrise Boulevard off I-95 after reports of a possible disturbance involving a man on drugs walking with a gun where children were. Dawson's family admits he was on drugs, but say he wasn't a threat.
He was also calling the police on himself.
Yes.
Exactly. He wanted
Ask
help.
for help.
NBC6 obtained video showing the moments before the deadly encounter. You can see Dawson walking out of a home holding a gun to his head. He then walks back inside. Armed deputies approached the home. One pointed a gun at the open doorway. Deputies say Dawson fired his gun, which prompted a deputy to shoot.
Oh, it was worse.
Dolison's family showed us the bullet holes left behind after the encounter. They also refute BSO, saying Dolison never fired his gun.
Had Jarrell really shot at those cops, multiple cops would have shot him, not
right.
just one cop.
Multiple
That's my only thing I gotta say.
right.
Had he really fired a shot at them, then everybody that was inside of the house would have been dead besides him.
Because I was in
but
there.
only Jarrell is dead because they targeted him as a crazy person.
All right, man. Lord Jesus. Nick, you right this time. I thought there wasn't no cameras, but I guess we had the cameras. And I mixed the cases up because I thought this was the pistol whipping case, but this is actually him firing a gun. The family admits that he was crazy. One of them said he called the police on himself. They admit that he had a gun and he was using drugs. And he had fired a gun in public, and that's why the police came. And she say, why weren't there SWAT? That looks like a tactical team. So they did show up. And he has a gun, so they're not going to use a beanbag. And then when he got there, he pulled, you can hear a pop, and then you hear rifle pops. And they go, why did everybody in the house would have died if he actually shot? No. He shot at them and they shot him back. It's called training. You shoot the person who shot at you. They're not shooting random people. Now, that's a scenario where black folks are disingenuous, like Nick always say. I'm playing. Nick don't be saying this stuff. I'm just giving a hard time. So his family be watching this. So y'all know I'm joking about Nick. I know your boy ain't a racist, okay? Most of the time. But I'm just kidding. I'm just giving a hard. Nick, you mad at me, bro? Don't get mad at me. You know I'm joking. But let's go to a family that an unfortunate situation like this happened to them, and they were at least honest when they saw the footage and the totality of circumstances. Roll it.
We wish it wouldn't have transpired that way, and it did. And my nephew, he made a decision that he should not have made. And that's just something we have to live with. Him as a person, he was a son, a brother, a grandson, a nephew, a little brother to someone, my son, Jeffrey.
True.
You know, a lot of times y'all hear about how good an individual was, but their actions don't depict who they were. But in this case, that's really who he was. That day, you know, just a bad decision. And now we have to live with that forever. That's something we have to accept. We're going to accept. Again, we thank the Milwaukee Police Department, everyone who came out. You know, we were seeing buying them out here, you know, like the community really came out. We didn't want anyone to riot, get to, you know, going off about anything. We just really wanted to know and keep things settled.
There's a clip 2 here. Roll it.
The off-duty officer followed right behind. Elijah did get out his vehicle, as did the off-duty officer. Elijah did kind of point to the front end of the off-duty officer's vehicle, kind of alleging that you hit me and caused some type of property damage to the vehicle. And what we see next on the video is that Elijah did have a firearm. He does pull it out, and the video in which myself and his mother Pam did watch today is he does slap the off-duty officer with the firearm.
Oh, that's the pistol whip one. This one.
After which the video does depict Elijah pointing the firearm at the off-duty officer, and the off-duty officer did respond, what we believe, in accordance with his training.
Man, hell is freezing over right now. I ain't never seen nobody come out and be this transparent. But this is what's supposed to happen, right? I feel for the young man. I know people in my family that have made poor decisions and had to go to prison for a long time over them. And I think generally they're good people. They just flash out, get mad, lose their temper, and make one decision that cost them their whole life. You know, when my oldest cousin, he shot a few people. And his argument is that it was self-defense, you know, but they gave him a lot of time in prison, man. He got 70 years, but they let it run concurrent, so he had to do 35 years. He missed everything. Kid grown now. He only halfway in. Hopefully he get out on parole. I think he a changed man. It was a weird situation, a conflict, a little scuffle that ended up happening, and he shot a few people. I mean, the first guy attacked him. He shot him. He didn't get charged with that guy, but he shot 2 other people whom he say, which I wasn't there, he say that they were attacking him too, and so he shot them. But that was a decision that he made, and he had to live with the consequences of his decision. Because to be honest, he could have avoided all that if he hadn't went over there. And you can't say much to him when he was younger. You couldn't say much to my cousin without him flashing out on you. And if he feel disrespected, he gonna take care of business. That's how he was raised. But you ain't gonna care. And if I saw the video body camera and it was obvious that he did a crime, you're not gonna have me coming on the TV line. That's the problem with a lot of these people. Like if my family member was on TV, like I had one of my family members, and I'm glad I didn't comment on it because what the family told me, kind of what he said, sound like he was guilty. But he ended up shooting and killing the guy in self-defense. I don't know why he came out saying that it wasn't. Like, once we look at the video, he clearly shot that dude in self-defense and killed him. And so my cousin is free now, having to use self-defense, having to shoot a guy to protect himself and other people that were around him, some Asian guy who was a pillar of the community. They got into an accident. It was a little scuffle that happened, but he pulled out a gun and started pointing at everybody, and then he got popped. I mean, that's what happened. But my cousin was right. And if it ever came to the news and they tried to put him in jail, I'd defend him. But if he was wrong, to be honest, I'll try not to cover that story. But if I had to cover it, I ain't gonna get on here and lie. All right, let's get to some fun stuff. Jasmine Crockett is coming up. But before Jasmine Crockett, we got to get to these conspiracy theorists. And I want to say this to y'all. Remember what these people said leading up to the trial. Remember what they said. Remember every case that has happened that you can remember. When trial comes, it's not what you thought it was. The information, the evidence that they will present in trial is going to be so much more than you think they have. It has happened in every single case that I've ever seen that went to trial. And discovery. Just like the kid that got killed, I forget his name, but he got killed in the car. He was in the car, cop came up, he asked for his ID. He went to reach down like this and the cop shot him like 8 times. People went on the internet without knowing the information, without doing any research, and they got crazy. To me, that was a really close call. I think the cop, it could have went either way. But at the end of the day, everybody was like, he was a legal gun owner and all this stuff. But what ended up coming out was, after Facebook videos was shown and all this, that he was illegally in the possession of a firearm. Because he had been using drugs before he applied for his CCW. So technically, and the toxicology results said he had marijuana in his system at the time of the incident. So he had just applied for a CCW, which he lied on the CCW, which is a felony. So he should have never had a gun in the first place. And then they recovered drugs in the car. And then we see a Facebook video from a week before where he's smoking weed, got the windows rolled up, and a little kid in the back coughing and choking. So he wasn't a good guy, but they tried to make him out to be a martyr. But so remember what people say before trial. All your favorite YouTubers, remember them. Because when the trial happened and the evidence is presented, you will be able to know who's reasonable, who's been fair, and who is pushing conspiracies to make money, didn't do no research, didn't do no due diligence, didn't look into nothing that they saying. People are like saying stuff without even looking into it. Oh, I'm questioning. No, you're not. You're pushing a theory. If you were really questioning, you would do your due diligence to verify the thing that you brought up so that when you present it to your people, you present it to them with full transparency and authenticity. You don't just question everything you can think about on the planet Earth. You say, well, let me do some research into that. So when I present it to people, I got a little backing behind it. I'm not just saying, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, wait, look at that. There's something there. A person had a hat on backwards. I'm wondering why they got a hat on backwards. I'm just saying they got a hat backwards. Oh, this person is standing next to Charlie at a 30-degree angle. That's weird. Ain't it weird? I think it's weird. Everybody think it's weird. No. How about you communicate with the person that you see doing that first? Oh, there's a suspicious person. Somebody identify this person or that person. No, identify the person first. Interview the person. And then therefore, it's a nothing burger, or you can present what you heard from the person that you suspect that has done something. That's why I don't get out and do that stuff, because I know people at Turning Point. So if I have a question, I'm not going to get on here and say, this is suspicious. I'm going to call them and say, hey, bro, is this what I think it is? No, it ain't. Okay. And then I'm going to come to y'all and say, I verified that this, even though it looked like this is not what it is, because I talked to this person, and I got the full spectrum. Somebody that's done a really good job is Stephen Gardner. What did he do? He interviewed a person that does autopsies for a living. He interviewed people who are detectives and people who understand this. That do this for a living. And he got a perspective from professionals that do this. So let's get to the thing like I was getting ready to say without me rambling. So listen to these conspiracy theorists, and I want you to mark them, because when the rubber hit the road, you will find out that these people are not trustworthy to listen to on topics like this. Roll the clip.
Do you really think a human being shot Charlie Kirk?
Human being.
Let me explain.
Okay.
There's a muzzle flash behind him.
Maybe it's a parody.
And that wound's an exit wound.
Exit wound.
He got shot from behind.
Did he? Okay.
He got shot by a drone, not a human being. You're going to leave this whole thing, even if you got cohorts to do it, and whoever's behind, the killer, 22-year-old kid, to leave it all to you, who's not a killer, never killed anybody before, to take him out? No. Lone gunman? Absolutely not. So why wouldn't you use a drone, right? So there's a muzzle flash behind him in a vent where no human being can be placed there. So wouldn't you just put a patsy up there when the shot goes off? There he is.
Right.
Meanwhile, you got hit from the back. Nobody's even looking for a drone. No, you're not even thinking about that. And the Chinese have mosquito-sized drones for reconnaissance. We're seeing all types of, like Lockheed Martin, they have drones now to where you can't even detect them. So all these things are coming out. If you look into what type of drones are used for military, assassinations or operations, you don't think they have this type of technology they can just use on him? One perfect shot. You only need one shot. You're telling me a kid with a lazy eye changes clothes, goes to the roof, takes a shot, perfect shot, changes his clothes again, disassembles the rifle, and then throws it in a bush?
Disassembles the rifle?
Oh, yeah, well, mind you, puts the rifle back together again, then throws it in the bush, and do all that in record time.
There's a guy worse than this, just so you know. But let's just talk about this. It's already been disproven that the gun was not disassembled, right? They already came out and made a statement that the gun was never disassembled. A drone that can shoot around into a person with nobody hearing or seeing it is insane. I guess it's got a suppressor on it. You hear bow from a zzz. Have you guys ever heard of a drone? Like you ever heard a drone that's within vicinity? It sounds like a big bumblebee. You got to fly that thing so high. Where would you fly the drone that's high enough where people can't even hear the drone? You'll hear that thing going zzz, and then it's supposed to fire a shot that make no sounds. And somebody was leveling the drone enough to hit a spot on a person like that without that's harder than a person shooting a person. You got to level the drone out, and then you got to have a munition that don't make any sound, and it's got to somehow hit Charlie and flee away. But then simultaneously, they got some guy staging all this stuff. You can't be this stupid. Oh, yeah, you can't be this stupid. Who the next person is? Oh, yeah, this guy. Remember him? You can never listen to this guy again. He is not a real person. I don't know if he's on meth. I don't know if he's seeing stuff. I can't not believe he has a social media. Listen to what he said. This was like yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah, like October 11th, 2 days ago. After all the information that we got out in the public. This is what he said. Roll it.
If you haven't figured it out yet, Charlie Kirk was not shot in the throat with a bullet fired from a 30-06 by a chasing furry lover called Tyler Robinson. Oh, okay. That is blatantly obvious.
Obvious.
There would have been an exit wound.
Oh, would it?
And then there would have been an autopsy.
Oh, there wasn't?
We wouldn't have been told that the bullet was lodged in Charlie Kirk's bones of steel and that an autopsy wasn't necessary and that we should just believe everything that we're being told is true because a bunch of authority figures said so. No, we've been lied to ad nauseum about the death of Charlie Kirk. We've been lied to by Turning Point USA, by the corporate media, by federal law enforcement, by Utah state officials, by Utah Valley University, by Donald Trump, by Benjamin Netanyahu, just about everyone else that you can think of.
Everybody
with any
but
power or influence in this country's political or media systems. And they have done this for a very good reason, because they killed Charlie Kirk.
They?
And not with a 30-06. Instead, they killed him with an exploding microphone. Kind of like an exploding pager. And guess what? The people that are behind the exploding microphone are also the same people that were behind the exploding pagers. And this should be obvious to anyone who's paying attention at all. All of this was very well coordinated. The Israeli demons have been assisted in this cover-up and in their crimes by members of Turning Point USA, by members of Charlie Kirk's security detail, by members of law enforcement, by our government, by our media. This was an assassination of an American citizen by a hostile foreign regime. Charlie Kirk's murder was an attack on America. A public attack meant to send a very clear message. If you question... If you push back against them and the levers of power that they control, you will be publicly sacrificed and the entire country will be expected to embrace a patently false story about how it happened. Charlie Kirk was murdered so that others would be quiet, so that millions of young people in this country could be steered toward Israel, instead of being away from them thanks to Charlie's awakening. And here on this program, from this desk, I told you this immediately after this happened.
I swear, if you listen to Stu Peters, you are Stu-head. Stupidity. When you look up stupid in the Bible, I say in the Bible, Lord Jesus, help me. I love the Bible. When you look up stupid in the dictionary, you're going to see Stu Peters' head in there. Think about this for a minute. An exploding microphone. So somehow Turning Point got a hold of an exploded microphone that, like, this technology is like from planet I don't know what. How do you get a microphone that have explosive components in it? Like I went and did a little research on the beeper explosion. The beepers were heavier than a normal beeper, but they were able to pass it off saying that the technology made it heavier. You got a, do we have one of those, let me show y'all what this thing look like. And you tell me how you can fit a munition in it that somehow doesn't have a grounding or a backing to it. It's connected to his chest with a magnet, and it somehow held the place and be able to project something into his neck on the other side. This is the same thing that Charlie's using. Same thing. This, a 5.56 can't fit in this thing. 223. Hold on. Can you get my rifle out of there? Yeah. You ain't scared to hold it, are you? No. Just grab the handle. Don't pull the trigger. Okay. So I just want to show y'all an example of what we're dealing with here. A 9 mil wouldn't have done that to Charlie's neck. Just so you know, a 9 mil wouldn't have done that. It had to have been a high-powered, high-velocity round. That's why you can see his shirt fluff and the impact of his whole body hit him right here. It's on safety, so don't worry about it. Yep, Nick, you holding it right. I told you. Just bring it over here. Hold on a second. Thank you. Okay. All right. I got my. Just for you haters that think you're gonna come to the headquarters, I got a couple of these for you. So 2-2-3 round. That won't fit in this microphone. And if the bullet hanging out the side of it like this, I think Charlie would have been like, "Hey, why they got a bullet on it?" So this didn't come out of it. I don't have my 9mm with me, but the 9mm probably take up the whole thing here. Where was the munition at? And if he's saying it's an explosive, is it explode with shrapnel? The thing is on this side. Charlie get hit on this side. So you telling me it exploded and it went like that at enough velocity to make his shirt do this, the back of his shirt, and his. Stu Peters is literally online saying that's true. If you had a device like this that had a projectile in it, it needs something on the opposite side so the thing don't go flying off your chest like this. If it exploded, it would have been boom. It would have had a big blast and blew his shirt off. And he had a big burn on his chest and his shirt would have been blown off into pieces. Stu Peters is an idiot. And people follow him. He got hundreds of thousands of subscribers. He got millions across all his platforms. And that fool said that this blew him up because Israel did it. Why would Israel risk going to war with the United States of America to take out Charlie Kirk? Because Charlie Kirk was secretly turning on Israel. Well, I know a couple of people that's openly turning on Israel. and Charlie is the one they want. Okay. What are y'all saying? We just signed a peace deal where the hostages came back. They gonna do Charlie in and sign a peace deal. Y'all can't be that stupid. Like Charlie Kirk mentioned this in one of his last speeches about the derangement and the assassin culture of the left. We just seen them go to another politician's house and take them out. They tried to take out Donald Trump. There are people, and the thing is, shame on you for anybody that's trying to divert from the real issue here. You should be ashamed. You're slightly complicit because you're looking at this. Look at the government. Look at Israel. Look at it. No, look at the people who are losing their minds in vitriolic hatred against conservatives. They had a guy get up on a building and try to shoot at ICE agents. The dummy ended up hitting detainees. He literally tried to snipe and kill ICE agents in a sniper position. But no, look at them. Don't look at them. Look at Israel. Israel's the problem. The government is the problem. They're covering it up. It's somebody else. No, talk about the person who really is responsible for doing this. Because if you don't, these people will continue to be radical. You go poll some of these people in college and say, is it justified to take out your enemy, your political enemy with violence and murder? Yes. Majority of them believe yes. They just got a guy in Virginia that's running for attorney general attorney general that threatened the lives of a political opponent on text message. The gubernatorial candidate will not condemn him. She will not condemn him. This is the people who are the biggest threat to us. But yet people are saying, look. No. I want to see the messages on that Discord. What was him and other people talking about on Discord? Why was there the existence of a Discord channel? This is what we need to be finding, not chasing conspiracy theories of maybe it was this person. Maybe I noticed something. Somebody got Converse in the crowd. Okay, man, come on. Really? Somebody got Converse on in the crowd. I noticed something. This guy looked like another guy. That's not evidence. That's not questioning. That's conjuring up misinformation that can never be disproven. I see this stuff every day on the internet, and I'm perplexed at how we're not focusing on the enemy at foot. But let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. You shall know them by their fruits. Anyone that sees Charlie Kirk's death and celebrates it, you know what fruit they're possessing. Anybody who's leveraging Charlie Kirk's death to monetize or to be, I see it all over the internet, y'all. People's videos getting 20,000 views, but then when they do the conspiracies, they get 100,000 views, 200,000 views, 500,000, million views. Their Instagram channel, dead. They do a conspiracy, 10 million views. You're like, well, that's kind of weird. Now I see why you're doing it, because it's making money. And then they just push it and push it and push it and push it and push it. No reason. They don't interview people who are experts. Let me tell you this. If a person is trying to get to the bottom of Charlie Kirk's death, this is what I would do, right? I think they already caught the guy, and a lot of things point to him. I only have one question mark in this whole thing, is that did the round they recovered match the 30-06? That's the only question mark that I see. Everything else is pretty well explained. There could be other accomplices, but they didn't kill Charlie. The person who killed Charlie, they got in custody. I'm pretty confident, based on reading the probable cause statement, looking at the evidence they have, looking at the interviews, I'm pretty confident that they got who they got. The question is that bullet going to match? And if it doesn't, that's going to be, I don't even know where we go from there if the bullet doesn't match. Now, they know if the bullet matched or not. They probably already know. We don't know. But like, it's a pretty cut and dry case here, to be quite honest. And anybody who's genuine pretty much know that. It's pretty cut and dry. They have him online doing reconnaissance of the location that Charlie was at. They got him online looking at Google Map and mapping out his scheme to take Charlie's life. They have it on record. Internet search history that they presented it to court as evidence in his trial. They have video of him leaving a location in the community where his car was parked, registered to him, walking through the community with a limp in his step because he got a rifle down his pant leg. Then he gets to campus. They got video of him going up the staircase, video of his face being presented as he's walking up the staircase, which his mother and father both identified him. Then they got a video of him going to the staircase, entering onto the roof, jumping down to the platform, going to the place where he's prone, firing the shot, running from the prone position, jumping off the building with the gun in his hand, wrapped in a black sheet. He has DNA. They got his prone position. They got indicia at the prone position. They know exactly where he fired the shot from. He got shoe impressions, palm impressions that they got as evidence. He runs to the thing. They got him running across the street on camera. They got him running through the community on camera. They got him running from in between houses where he left the gun on camera. They got him getting into a vehicle and driving off. They got his geo-tracked. He's on video at Dairy Queen in the area. He lives 200 miles from there. There's no reason for him to be there whatsoever. They got phone call conversations, or at least they have testimony from his father about the phone call that he had with his son, who his son then admitted to him that he did it. His son said he wanted to take his own life, but his dad was able to convince him to come home and turn himself in. They have evidence of the dad conversation, the text messages, the rifle belonging to his grandfather, the dad confronting him about the rifle belonging to his grandfather, him texting his lover of all this incriminating stuff. They got a Discord channel with 20 people in it. All evidence in this case. Then they got a sheriff deputy who's a next door neighbor who testifies to being contacted by the dad, coordinating that this kid turned himself in. What, like, they got DNA evidence of his finger on the trigger. They got a spent casing in the gun, DNA on the gun, DNA on the rounds. And y'all want us to believe that they are somehow, because they won't do the investigation on social media, that they're hiding from us. The FBI shouldn't even release the information that they did. They were trying to get you knuckleheads to not push conspiracies and tank the jury pool. So they gave you a little something that you could say, okay, it appears that they may have gotten a guy that did this. And people out here throwing fake question marks out for no reason. And won't address the fact that they got overwhelming evidence. Won't address the trial. I mean, the preliminary hearing that they just did, it was kind of a preliminary hearing for counsel. He retained lawyers, and in the hearing, the lawyer said, his defense, said, there is so much overwhelming evidence that we need time to evaluate all the evidence that they have. And not saying overwhelming, meaning that they're admitting that it's corroborative evidence, but they're saying there's so much evidence, there's so much electronic communication evidence that's been presented by the prosecution that we need more time. And then they're going to go to the initial hearing to present the evidence. It's crazy to me that somehow we think that the FBI, because of Jeffrey Epstein, that the FBI is going to botch the biggest, most important assassination of our lifetime. And Donald Trump is going to let him do it. Donald Trump is going to say, Kesh Patel, you know what? Charlie was my friend, but go ahead and botch this. Let me watch you botch the investigation. Kesh Patel, been on Charlie's show, been on my show. Kesh Patel somehow don't want the killer of Charlie Kirk to be arrested in your mind. So he botches the whole thing. The FBI agents in Salt Lake City all botched it in a coordinated effort that they put together 24 hours before assassinating Charlie, because he got on some chat and said, I'm done with these donors. And he was, being upset on a private text message. But somehow they concocted this instantaneously and got every FBI agent involved. Kesh Patel is involved. Local law enforcement is involved. All the witnesses that were there that saw Charlie get shot in the neck from the front with no exit is involved. His whole security team is somehow cooperative. And Frank Turek is involved. The university is involved. The deputy that was the neighbor is involved. The sheriff is involved. Both his parents are complicitly involved in turning their son in, knowing he didn't do nothing wrong. The trans person that was his girlfriend, boyfriend is involved. Discord is involved. Israel is involved somehow. I don't get it, man. And I never will. I was going to talk about Jasmine Crockett, but we ran out of time. I'll get to that ghetto bird tomorrow. But y'all, please remember what they said. You know how they say, remember the Alamo? Remember what these people said. Remember all the conspiracies that they pushed. Remember all the receipts that they did not present. I want you to remember this. Write it down. Take a note. Because I believe when the court hearing happens, people are going to be surprised. And the conspiracy theorists are going to say they made it up. You cannot make up DNA evidence in 2025. They submit to a crime lab that's not even associated to the investigatory body. The person in the crime lab have to log them retrieving the contents of the information on video. So there's video of the person taking a gun that they submitted in the evidence from the evidence thing, taking it and testing it and doing whatever they need to do. DNA is put into a machine that's impartially exposing whether or not the DNA is a match. Human beings cannot control that. These computers and computer scientists will be brought into court to testify the confidence rating of these machines. And they're going to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, based on third-party lab testing, that these machines cannot be manipulated by humans. They're going to go through the chain of custody to show that this weapon was not manipulated by anybody. They got body-worn cameras. I mean, all of the evidence. And some people don't know because they've never done an investigation, so I give y'all a pass. But there are people that know better, and they doing this stuff anyway. If you don't know how an autopsy works, interview somebody that does autopsies. I have physically been present for at least 3 autopsies. One was a woman who was deboned. Have you ever seen a person deboned before? Yeah, it's weird. It's about as weird as you think it is. A human body without bones in it is weird. It look like a scary movie. Woman with D-bone in there. They let me go look at it. You want to see it, Brandon? She ain't got no bones. I'm like, I got to see this. I ain't never seen nothing like that. Then I had the one where the guy had his brain they had his brain in a bowl, and the top of his head was cut off, and they took his brain out and put it in a bowl while they did the autopsy on him. Chest open like this, like a scary movie. All this exposed. They had some of his intestines they pulled out and all that. I've seen autopsies before. I know, and I don't watch the whole thing because I don't have the stomach to hear them saw the scalp off and pull the brain out and all that. I really wasn't trying to watch that. But if you don't know how they do autopsies, if you don't understand how they present evidence, you probably need to interview somebody that does. The internet is filled with people who are experts on this stuff. If you don't know how investigations work, you should interview a person who's a former FBI investigator so they can articulate to you how investigations go. If you didn't read the probable cause statement that was submitted to the court, and you're out here talking about Charlie Kirk's death and acting like you're trying to find answers to his death, and you haven't looked at the probable cause statement that was presented to the court, I mean, are you really trying to get to the bottom of it? Or are you guys just want to be superfluous and make money on Charlie Kirk's death? I'm going to say this and I'm going to get off here. The saddest part of all this is that because of individuals, plural, who are pushing conspiracies for money, Charlie Kirk's death will become overshadowed in perpetuity in history. Because nobody's going to be talking about the revival. It's already gone. Are people talking about the revival? Are people talking about Jesus right now? Most people are talking about conspiracies. So when in 5 to 10 years, nobody's going to remember Charlie Kirk outside of he was assassinated, and there's this big looming conspiracy around why he was assassinated. People don't know why RFK was assassinated. They don't know why he was. They just know that he was, and it's a conspiracy. As far as Martin Luther King, people don't really understand the totality of what Martin Luther King, the situation Martin Luther King was in at the time. They don't really know that. They just know he was assassinated, and it's a government cover-up. I'm telling you, and Charlie Kirk's, unfortunately, his death is going to be the same way. And some people would love to see Turning Point collapse and be no more. And if they have their way, Turning Point would be no more. Charlie Kirk's life and legacy would be riddled with conspiracies, and he would have died in vain. That's what a lot of people on the internet is doing right now. A lot of people. But anyway, I just had to vent. I've been wanting to vent all weekend. So anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. One day we're going to be consistent on the time. We're working on it. We're working on it, baby. Trust me, we're working on it. But those of you who follow me, love you. Appreciate it. Those of you who don't follow me and you don't like me, thank you for watching, because you are adding to contributing to the algorithm that gets the video views that make me money. So if you hate me and you don't want me to make money, then you probably shouldn't watch my video. But if you're going to continue to watch my video, make sure you watch all of my videos and like and subscribe, even if you don't like me, because that's just going to give me enough money to go to Israel. And I'm going to get a yarmulke. Matter of fact, I'm going to be Talmud Tatum for Halloween. So keep watching my videos. Give me a super chat so I can buy me a costume and be Talmud Tatum Steen. Matter of fact, the more you watch my videos, I can get that $7,000 that they ain't never paid me. You weirdos. You guys are weirdos, bro. I just can't believe y'all weirdos like this. I'm serious. They laughing at me. I'm serious. Like, y'all weirdos, bro. I am going to troll the living daylights out of y'all. I cannot wait to get my whole get up. I'm going to go to a rabbi and say, what all do I need to be Talmud Tatum for Halloween? I'm going to have that thing. I'm going to put that, you know how they be wearing that thing on their head and their arm? I'm going to do all that. I'm going to have the strings hanging and everything. I'm going to go get a wig with the swirls. I'm going to have a Talmud over here and a Torah over here. Play with me if you want to. And I'm going to have a $7,000 in my hand. That's what I'm gonna do, Nick. I'm gonna be Tatum for Halloween with $7,000 in my hand, walking around. Well, y'all losers. Anyway, love you. See you on the next one.